Welcome to another exciting episode. This time, we'll be counting down my favourite arcade beat-em-ups. This has always been one of my favourite genres, and I've spent hours upon hours playing everything from the very best to the absolute worst. This was a genre that took arcades by storm during the late 80s and early 90s, before being overshadowed by one-on-one fighting games and then almost completely dying out once 3D games took the spotlight. The genre would eventually make a comeback with games like Castle Crashers and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World before the return of Streets of Rage and the Ninja Turtles. So let's begin with Sega and take a trip back to 1991 with my choice for number 10. At number 10, I've chosen Spider-Man, the arcade exclusive from Sega released in 1991. This game used Sega's System 32 board and featured a unique zoom effect as it switches between being a beat-em-up and a platformer. Up to 4 players can take on the roles of Spider-Man, Black Cat, Hawkeye and Namor as they try to stop a variety of iconic villains. The sprites are large and detailed, but Spider-Man does walk like he is carrying a back injury. The music suits the on-screen action perfectly, and the presentation makes it feel like you are part of a comic book adventure. It's a shame it was never ported to a home system, as it's a superb brawler and one of the best comic book games ever made. At number 9, it's another beat-em-up based on a Marvel comic book series, The Punisher. You play as Frank Castle or Nick Fury as they aim to stop the Kingpin. This game stood out because of all the weapons that could be picked up. Everything from guns to grenades and flamethrowers can be used to take down your enemies. It did eventually appear on the Sega Mega Drive, and that version ended up becoming a bit of a collector's item. It's another fantastic game based on a comic, and one I love going back to play on a regular basis. At number 8, I've chosen yet another Marvel classic. This time, it's Konami's X-Men. The game featured a huge cabinet with 2 screens for up to 6 players to join in at once. You could choose from Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Dazzler, Nightcrawler and Colossus as you aim to take down Magneto. The gameplay is fast and chaotic with huge screen-filling special attacks and some very memorable boss encounters. The game was known for its comical dialogue with some of the weirdest interactions between characters ever heard in an arcade game. It was an arcade exclusive for many years and remains one of the most memorable beat-em-ups ever made. At number 7, I've chosen another classic from Konami. This time, it's The Simpsons, which arrived in arcades in 1991. At the time, the game looked and sounded just like an episode of the TV show. Up to 4 players could crowd around the machine as they took control of Homer, Marge, Bart or Lisa. The combat was fun, with each character having their own unique weapon and even the ability to team up to perform special attacks. This was an incredible example of the genre at the time, and it captured all the elements of the TV series perfectly. At number 6 we head back to 1989 for Sega's legendary fantasy brawler Golden Axe. You take on the role of one of 3 warriors aiming to save the land from the evil Death Adder. The combat is brutal, with weapon attacks being the main focus, and the game even has several beasts you can ride into battle. Each character has a unique magic ability that can range from lightning strikes to a huge fire-breathing dragon. The intense atmosphere and iconic music made Golden Axe a timeless classic, and it's definitely one of the standout games in the genre. For number 5 I've chosen Vendetta, which was released by Konami in 1991. This brawler features a lot of personality and some great animation for the time. The 4 heroes resemble action stars and wrestlers, and the gameplay is packed with nice details like being able to kick enemies while they are down. You can use a variety of weapons, and the stages take you through some immersive and interactive environments. Vendetta made a lot of improvements over its predecessor Crime Fighters, and it's a perfectly balanced brawler that still holds up today. At number 4 I've chosen the 1993 classic Cadillacs and Dinosaurs from Capcom. Based on a comic book, it features a world where humans and dinosaurs live side by side. The gameplay is fast and gives you an access to a variety of weapons, from machine guns to dynamite. A standout moment in the game is when you get to drive a Cadillac through the desert to run down enemy thugs. The visuals and music are superb, and it stands out as one of the very best in the genre. At number 3, I've picked one of the games that defined the 4-player co-op experience, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Released in 1989, the game captured the essence of the cartoon perfectly, from the visuals to the music. You and 3 friends can pick your favourite turtle and fight through waves of foot soldiers before facing Shredder and Krang. Konami created a timeless masterpiece that still stands out as one of the best licensed games ever made. While Turtles in Time is technically superior, the original will always be my favourite Ninja Turtles game. My choice for the number 2 spot goes to Double Dragon, which arrived in arcades in 1987. It's often recognised as the first game in the genre, building on the formulas used in Kung Fu Master and Renegade. You play as Billy and Jimmy Lee as they fight their way through 4 stages to rescue Marion. Along the way, you'll fight a lineup of iconic enemies, including Roper, Williams, Linda, and of course, the wall-smashing Abobo. The music is unforgettable, and emerging from the garage at the start of the game is one of the most iconic moments in gaming history. At number 1 I've chosen Final Fight, which was released by Capcom in 1989. You play as Guy, Cody or Hager as they punch and kick their way through Metro City to save Hager's daughter. The game featured huge character sprites and some of the best music and sound effects of any game from its era. Every scene is memorable, from the underground train journey to the showdown with Rolento on the lift. It set the standard for every beat-em-up that followed and still remains the perfect example of the genre. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to the channel for more retro gaming content.